Hi, this is going to be a quick tutorial on Google App Engine Python. And a lot of times I get a lot of questions about just how to get started and how to set up a project. So this is going to be a really basic quick tutorial on how to set up Google App Engine Python so that you can start coding. There's a lot of people that have trouble with their machine or getting stuff installed. So I'm going to show you a quick, easy way to get started. So before we start here, there's a couple things you're going to need to do. So you might want to pause this video and start signing up for some of these accounts. Of course, you're going to need a Google App Engine account. We're going to use an online code editor so that we can kind of skip all the problems you might have with your personal machine. So go ahead and go to digitalocean.com, sign up for an account there. The virtual servers are only $5 a month, so it's really cheap. Don't have to set anything up, but just go ahead and sign up for an account. And then lastly, go ahead and go over to neutrondrive.com, and you can start a free account there, or you can go ahead and pay the yearly subscription if you want, which is pretty cheap also. But the free trial is like 45 days. Alright, so let's get started. So first thing, let's go ahead and go over to App Engine. You should have created an App Engine account. And let's go ahead and hit Create Application. So right here in this first box is the name that your application will have, or the web address. So let's go ahead and try and pick something that's not taken. I already did Neutron Test before, so I'm going to do Neutron Test 2 this time. Now this is really just for your purposes, what you want to see displayed as your application name. And for right now, I'm just going to leave this open to all Google accounts, this app. But depending on what you're doing, you may want to restrict this to domain if you're doing something particularly for your work or something like that. I would not recommend using OpenID since I believe Google is deprecating that. So pick one of the first two. Alright, so let's go ahead and create our application. And there we go. We now have set up and reserved our name. Let's go ahead and go to our dashboard. Alright, so now we haven't deployed anything yet. So let's go ahead now. And you also want to find the development documentation. And this is what we're going to go over. And it's got a good little tutorial on getting started. So this is what we're going to kind of go through a little bit. So like I said, we're going to run our code and edit our code in an online code editor called Neutron Drive. So with Neutron Drive, once you set up that DigitalOcean account, in your settings you'll be able to get a API key and a client ID, and you want to go in here on the gear button and hit set up a development virtual machine. And so I've already entered my credentials, so I don't have to do that step right now, but it's pretty easy. And why this is nice is because it's going to set you up a clean machine. You're not going to have to worry about installing a lot of things, and it's going to give you a fresh environment to just start coding and get up as fast as possible. You're going to fill in a few things, your username, your password, and then what kind of machine you want. Any of these should work good, so you might want to pick the latest version of Ubuntu if you like to have a lot of fun there. Alright, so now I already set mine up, that will take a few minutes when you do that, and you're going to get a little folder over here, and you can see I have nothing in it. I don't have any code or anything. Alright, so let's go ahead, and you'll see that address when it sets it up for you. You can go ahead and log into your machine. So now if you're on Chrome, you should go ahead and also get the Secure Shell app. You can use any kind of Secure Shell app. If you're on a Mac, you can use your terminal. If you're on Windows, you can use PuTTY. But Chrome has a Secure Shell app that you can install. So you can see I've logged in once here. But you just go ahead and you type your username and your address to your server that you just created. And let's hit enter, and we're going to go ahead and log in. Alright, so now Neutron Drive sets up your machine for you, and if you do an ls, you'll see there's a code directory. So let's go ahead and go into our code directory. So the first thing we need to run Google App Engine apps is their SDK. So let's go back over here. Let's go to download the SDK, and we just set up a Linux box, so we want that. So I'm just going to copy this link, and I'm going to go ahead and do wget, paste that link, and this will download the SDK for us. Alright, this should just take a second. And we're almost there. Alright, it's done. So if we do another ls, you can see we have our SDK. Let's go ahead and unzip. You can see that's all the files. It's unzipping. Alright, if we do another ls, you can see we have a Google App Engine directory. Alright, so we have, if we go back to our code editor and go ahead and hit refresh, you can see there's the files we just created. Alright, now we want to create our app. If you remember, we called our app Neutron Test 2. So let's go ahead and make a directory, and we're going to call it Neutron-Test 2. Alright, so there's our directory, and there's nothing in it. So now you're going to need at least 2 files at minimum to run your application. You're going to need your first file, which is going to be app.yaml, and the second file is going to be your Python file that's going to run. So let's just go ahead and call that main.py. And you'll probably most likely have a lot more Python files as you grow your app. Alright, so first of all, what is the app.yaml? That is basically a configuration file that tells Google App Engine what you want to run. If we go over back to the tutorial, we go to the Hello World part of this tutorial. You can see down here, here's the configuration file. So let's go ahead and copy and paste that. Alright, so we want our app ID up here. Make sure I spell that right. And then This right here is what is actually it's going to run. So I didn't call mine hello world, I called it main. So I'm going to do main.application. Alright, so let's go ahead and save that. Let's go back up here. So here they provide you with a quick hello world example. So let's go ahead and copy that and paste that in there. Alright, so this is just going to do a print hello world when we run it. So you can see right here this variable called application. Let's go ahead and save this. That is the same variable that's specified here. So whatever you specify here, you want to make sure it matches up to that variable that you specified here. If we want to call it something different, we could call it something different. And then this first part of the file, or first part of the configuration, is the file name. Alright, so we have our configuration file. We have our Python file. Alright, let's go back to our server here. We'll just do an ls. You can see, let's go ahead and clear this, do an ls again. There we go. You can see there is our directory that we created, and you can also see the files in that directory. Oh, don't want to resize that, just want to show you the files. Alright, so now to go ahead and run our application, there is a Python file called dev app server in the SDK. So we type that out, the path to that, and then we just type out the path to our app. Now, if you're doing this on your local machine, that's all you would have to do. But since we're doing this out on a cloud server, we need to be able to see it from not only the local environment but also the outside world so that we can get to it. So we have to add one more configuration variable here, which is host and the name of our server. Alright, so let's go ahead and start that up. Alright, it's asking us, do we want to check for updates? Yep, let's just go ahead and check for updates. Alright, so you can see here, it's giving us a couple things. You can see this right here where it's saying App Engine Test, neutrondrive.com, port 8080. So that is the address that our application is going to be at. And you can see, there we go, we printed hello world. Let's just change it up a little bit, just so you can see that it is doing what I'm not just showing you something that's not really working. And you can see, there it is. And that's how you get started with Google App Engine. Alright, so now let's just do one more thing here. So we're going to hit Control C. That will go ahead and that will kill our development server. Alright, so let's say now we're ready. We want to go ahead and upload it to App Engine, because this is just a development server. Alright, so to do that, we run the appconfig.py file, and we say update, and then we say the directory to our application. Alright, so it's going to ask us for our login. Get my password here. And if we just give it a second here, it's uploading. You can see it's uploading 2 files. It's going to start our application. Okay, deployment was successful. Alright, so let's go back to our dashboard and refresh it. And you can see we have a little bit more stuff here on this page. Let's go ahead and go to versions. And you can see we deployed it 24 seconds ago. And if we click this link, it is going to take us to the external URL for our app. So there's different versions. You can see this has a 1 dot in front of it. If you get rid of that, it's going to go to the default version of your app. And this is probably what you want to share to people when you start actually publishing your app to the public. And that's it. That's getting started with Google App Engine.